Welcome back to Supreme Fuzzler. We are doing a little something new here. This is going to be my my podcast. We are calling this Fuzzlercast. And this is the Venture Brothers section of it. I might try a history/local current affairs kind of section of it later too. But for now, I am just sticking with the venture thing. We are starting with the pilot episode here. The Escape from Turtle Bay episode, which is technically episode 0 for season 1. Before I get into this episode, I want to just preface this, I guess, with why I chose Venture Brothers, why we're doing it like this. Venture Brothers, if anyone checks out the YouTube channel, and to find extra, by the way, this is what podcast will be, as well as anywhere you find your podcast kind of shit, you know that I love Venture. So, Venture Brothers is just one of the best adult animation, and just in general, in my opinion, American animation shows I've ever seen. I've never really watched Archer, so I don't know. That's the only one that I've seen parts of that I thought is technically comparable, but and kind of Metalocalypse, but that's a whole different genre in my opinion. But Venture Brothers is just such a great show when it comes to the way it's portrayed, the world building, the character development, the growth and of the show as a whole, as well as all the characters and everything, of course, and just in general, it's just one of the best shows ever. It's probably one of my top obsessions when it comes to almost it's on par with anime shows that I've seen that are like School Rumble and Ranma 1/2 and Zero no Tsukaima and Code Geass and Steins Gate and Fate Zero. Those are all my favorite animes that I can think of that I've watched over and over and over. But honestly, almost Venture beats them all, because I have watched Venture just as much as those ones, but more, but combined actually was what I mean. I've seen there's an Adult Swim marathon that plays and it just plays Venture, and it just cycles through the entire series over and over. And I just like just putting it on and seeing where it is and then watching it. It's freaking amazing. Without further ado on that, we'll talk about that more as this progresses. We are going to get right into the Escape from Turtle Bay. Escape from Turtle Bay? Shit, I can't remember. The Terrible Secret of Turtle Bay. I'm sorry. I knew it was Turtle Bay though. So it starts with the opening is that there's the whole Tokyo, Japan. So the thing about this show that I want to talk about, especially with this first episode, this is 2003 when this comes out, or maybe 2004, but I think the pilot's 2003. And Adult Swim, and I remember I don't know if I saw the pilot, but I know I saw the first episode pretty early when I was 9 years old. And me and my family we were avid of Adult Swim watchers at the time. We were Space Coast, Coast to Coast watchers, Sea Loud 2021, and Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So we were, of course, going to watch this new show. But we didn't really 100% like it. At least I didn't. I don't remember liking it. My dad might have. But in this beginning part and this beginning show, what this first episode, this pilot episode does is establish a lot of characters, but also, even in this pilot episode, it establishes a continuity stuff that happens that is really important to the greater storyline later in the series that is incredible when you think about how this was just a pitch episode, essentially. But so we start with the Tokyo, you're dealing with this ninja dude, or not, you don't know he's a ninja yet, but he's a Japanese dude. He's getting massaged by a hot lady, tells the hot lady to go because the dude came in and shit. Freaking gets told that Venture has a new invention, and he's all like, I'm gonna get it. I want that. I can't do a Japanese accent in any way. And so we go from there. So, and you see him do some cool ass martial arts, random stuff, and a nice little joke with his assistant there. And then the intro rolls. And that intro is iconic at this point for me. Like, amazing, honestly, brilliant, and just great. I truly believe it's one of the best. It's so awesome. So, and even that intro kind of establishes like what the show's gonna kind of be about and how this show is gonna be progressing, because it's like a good showing of like, oh, looks like a Johnny Quest thing. Like, okay, we're gonna be seeing some robots and the boys and stuff. And then so after the intro, we get the boys, the twins, the actual Venture brothers, the main, I would argue, the true main characters of the entire show in this show. Although Monarch and Rusty are close seconds. But so you have the boys, they deal with their shit and they do a bunch of, you basically get the establishment that they're really naive and they're the classic, those two characters specifically are really the classic naive adventure boys, not because they're adventures, but they're just the adventuring types. They're inquisitive, and one's the smart one, and one's the tough one, and they're all just adventurous and curious and really excited and really stupid for some reason. Well, they're not stupid, they're naive. They're really naive about the world and anything about the world. And that's just how it is. One moment. But that's just how things be in this world, bitch of an earth. So, you have them talk about their dog. They're looking for their dog, Scamp. Can't find the dog. They have to go find. So they're like, all right, we'll go check with our dad. They do a interesting joke about the mom, because like, if I recall, Dean's just like, bro, I think I like move at the speed with her, like our mom was whipping us or some shit. Something like that. You gotta watch the episode. You guys should watch the episode. Also that, please support the actual release. This show deserves it. It's gonna get its finale soon. It's awesome. Anyways, and then they like Hank, the blonde brother, is just like, no, you know we don't have a mom. We've never had one, basically. And they have an awkward moment. Excuse me. And that's kind of like interesting. But like why I'm talking about it is because it's really plot relevant. Like, they establish really quickly, that, okay, there's no mom. Not only is there no mom, but we don't have one. We've never had one, kind of thing. It really well establishes that, okay, these two boys are, and always have, just been with Rusty, with their dad. So, and then we get the introduction of the dad. Alright, so I think it's actually first Brock. Brock's character is interesting as hell. Like, you get, I think it's Brock. So they come in from their place, and it's freaking, Brock's introduction is one of the best. So you got like a big muscular guy, blonde, cool looking, just in like, especially in the 2003 animation style, just so cool. But he's just doing cool things. And they do that whole crazy close-up to his face when he's hearing something. And then we introduce Rusty, the Dr. Venture, one of my, not my favorite characters, because I cannot say that at all, but an interesting character nonetheless. Rusty is they early on quickly show he's pill popping, which they really lean into heavily in this episode, that he's really a big pill popper type character, and that's how he deals with his problems a lot. Which, excuse me, I think they kind of get rid of, like, plot-wise by the end of season 1, like they actually explain that away. We'll see when we get there. Anyway, so he's taking some pills, chilling around. Obviously is not exactly happy with his boys. He doesn't really want to talk to them. When they show up, he's like, kind of like Homer Simpson style grumbles about the boys showing up. They ask about Scamp, and then, oh shit, I took away all his skin. Oops. Well, not oops, it's for an experiment. But holy crap, what a way to establish, like, that this show is going to be why this show is on Adult Swim, basically. Like, oh, okay, this is a little weird. And so you have Scamp, which is a consistent thing in the show. It's very interesting that they have Scamp as a character that consistently, not as around, but is used, is talked about. Shit like that is talked about. Anyways, so then you have some noise, and you got the Brock fighting the mummy. You got this picture here of the mummy, I think. And he's just trying to struggle with that. You see him kick some ass. And truly, this is really one where it shows Brock's strength. He is a great character. brilliantly crafted. It's like, especially with his character development, as he develops as a truly actual character beyond the I'm a badass mass murdering crazy person almost. But they established with this that, like, okay, not only can he just do they deal with their problems, which are unorthodox problems like a mummy, by kicking the crap out of it, but also in the immediate aftermath, Rusty is just like, oh, I guess our last adventure was more than it seemed, and tries to like give Brock a high five, but Brock's like, whatever. Which really, in earlier they had established the whole like, hey, my experiment did really well, you should come check it out. But Brock's like, I don't fucking care. And it really establishes the whole, they're kind of friends, but not exactly friends in this part. That's where it kind of gets confusing continuity wise. But this is just how the show wanted to be at this time. So, and then you got some Monarch being introduced. Monarch and his crew. You don't have 21 and 24. That's not the next episode. But you have Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend being introduced. Dr. Girlfriend gets one line in this episode. And I don't even really she doesn't really have the deep voice that you really expect from a Dr. Girlfriend. But it's still there. And Monarch is a fucking great character. Even in this, as he's being established in this, where he's technically Rusty's actual major villain here. Like, you have the ninja dude doing whatever the fuck he's doing, which is obviously nefarious in one way or the other. But then there's Monarch showing up, taking a fucking random-ass plane just to go to New York to fuck with Rusty at the UN just because Rusty is there. That's all it is. So then, fucking shit happens. The ninja guy is looking for the experiment that Rusty has brought to the UN. The boys steal it? I'm not really sure how that goes down. Or he thinks they do, and so he kidnaps them, but then realizes he doesn't have it, throws them out. Not exactly. Just watch the episode. You'll get it. It really, what I want to talk about is the immediate aftermath of that whole scene, where they get their shit stolen because they're knocked out on the New York streets. And then Monarch shows up, and they have to fucking run from Monarch. And Monarch is essentially chasing them, kind of half like, what the fuck are you guys doing, dicking around in New York, while also, trying to fuck with them. And then, so they continue this process in that situation. They escape from Monarch. They find a prostitute, deal with that, which is funny. Monarch is still trying to find them. He kind of finds them right as the prostitute's showing up. As Hank and Dean deal with the prostitute. And dude asks him if he needs drugs, and he tries to kill him with a fucking dart, but he can't. He's out of darts, so he's like, "No, I'm cool, man." Great jokes. And then Brock finding him, and then the whole it's what I think the only time I can think of that Monarch is as beat really badly by Brock. Like, most of the time in the future episodes, it's really Monarch's henchmen they fight Brock. Which most of the time. This is one of the few times that I was like, it's just Monarch acting on his own. Which, interestingly, if you use the continuity that the show tries to establish later on, you can kind of guess that this is like a long time ago-ish. At least a longer ago before they switched their costumes and shit. Excuse me. Which I really like that they bring that back in later episodes. And how this is like the early costumes and stuff of Monarch and their crew. Let's see here. This is an interesting episode. It's really interesting to establish all these characters and to watch this episode of characters that I really do know well. Then you have the whole final shit with at the UN. Hank and Dean find their way there. Fucking the ninja guy reveals that he's not trying to steal the project, but do something else. You have to watch the episode to find out. I'm just kidding. It's masturbate. He wants to fucking fornicate to the technology, which is kind of weird. But this is Dr. Venture. It really is an interesting way with the bloody. Oh man, you know what I forgot? So there's a scene. Okay. There's a scene. We're gonna go back a little bit. There's that scene with the UN. where Rusty first arrives, and Brock is basically accidentally reveals that they had an alligator in their fucking trunk. of their airplane, kills the alligator. Rusty like, don't worry, Brock's got this. Then the UN guard going like, bro, you can't bring a weapon into the UN. And Brock being like, go ahead, take it from me. So funny. So well establishing a character that is like not willing to bend to your rules, except for the fact that, if you're at the UN, you're gonna fucking give me the knife. But that would be real life. This is their world where super science is a thing. And that's the other thing later on. Okay, so then that was just a scene I wanted to come back to. As in the later part of the series, I have the episode, and I'm sorry I kind of am jumping around, but that's just how I am, because I just watched it. Again, there's the whole establishment of, they show Dr. Impossible, although they don't really show him as a rubber guy, so I don't know if this is before his accident, but unlikely. And they also show, intriguingly, Billy and White, major characters later on, and they kind of almost make it seem like they're not, where White's basically saying that the only line they give him is White's basically saying that he has Brock, that Rusty, Dr. Venture, has Brock around because they have gay lovers, essentially. And fucking Billy's just like, are you an idiot? There, he's his bodyguard. The hell are you talking about? So that was just an interesting way to establish but introduce those characters. Although they're not officially introduced till later in the next season. And really, so we get to the end, get that fornication crap out of the way, get the bull crap from the boys done more, because they're weird. And then you have the last little bit with Brock, with some the prostitute from before, and sleeping with her, and talking about how the boys will show up and don't worry about it. And then the outro, and then the outro scene, which I love, Venture doing the after credits scene back when anime and shit were the only things that I can think of, or doing it 5 years before Marvel was even introduced. First Iron Man. So in the after credits scene with Monarch, he's got his ass, just he got a leg broke, arm broke, head hurt, looks like he got some ribs broken, his eyes got fucked up because you kind of saw that happen. And it's like, don't throw away my wings. So funny. Such a great way to establish these characters, such a great way to establish the show. I'm glad that this pilot worked and that they continue to make new episodes. And the first episode of the series, the actual first episode, is the episode that I remember being really into. But then the second and third episodes aren't really up my alley, or at least they weren't really up my alley when I was younger. So it took me to second season's releases for me to get into this show legitimately. I think I was 11, 2005, 2006. I was definitely up in Spokane, not Texas at the time. So we're gonna end this review, or I don't know what you call this. It's almost a recap, because I kind of just recapped it, but I'm discussed the opinion of it. My opinion, good episode. Good episode to establish this series, the pilot part. I forgot some of the stuff that happened in this episode didn't happen in the next one. I thought, the prostitute thing, I thought it was all in the next episode, in fucking, the first episode with Speedy and shit. And it might still be, because technically this pilot episode isn't part of the series overall, but we'll see. I think it's good. I really like this show. I really enjoy it. It's interesting they introduced the ninja character, and I want to just talk about it real quick, even though it's really we haven't gotten to the rest of the series, so it's kind of spoilers, but whatever. In the whole way this character that's never used again, that's what I'll spoil. They really do well at establishing that Rusty, Dr. Venture, is a fucking just guy who gets fucked with and looked at by a lot of people. The ninja guy, the Japanese guy is just interested in him because of the tech he has, and he knows he has good tech because he's the son of Jonas Venture. And then the UN invited him despite, even though he obviously isn't the best scientist. And then the part where after he reveals his invention, and it's obviously kind of a weapon, he's I don't really see it as a weapon because he's kind of weird about morality, and he's naive about how his technology is actually really dangerous. And then they all do the whole, the fucking general's the one who wants it. He sells 100 of them to the army, and which establishes the military as his major funder for large parts and portions of the series. This does really well at being a episode that kind of makes sense continuity-wise despite it truly not being part of the series, in my opinion. It is almost outside the box, because there's a couple continuity errors that make it almost not make sense. Like the Billy and White thing. White's supposed to be an old friend of fucking Olive, essentially. I think he might just be dicking with Billy and talks because Billy hasn't yet to truly know Dr. Venture yet, but I don't know, it just seems weird. Anyways, thank you for watching listening to this little bit. I've been having fun just thinking about how I wanted to do more adventure things that establish my opinion. I wanted to originally do a top 20 episodes kind of thing, but I realized that would be not only really hard editing-wise, but copyright-wise. When you put a bunch of clips of Venture up, it's going to get copyright claimed no matter what. And if you do like 5 of them in a row in one episode, it will get copyright struck down and you won't be able to have it on the YouTube anymore. So instead of doing that, I decided I'd do this, which is a podcast kind of thing, where instead I'll just talk about the episodes as we go. When we hit the episodes that I considered in my top 20, I will let you know where they are, and even probably name the podcast episodes based upon that. It's just something that I want to do, because since I can't do the actual editing, I just don't have the... It's not that I don't have the editing skills, I don't have the patience to edit all that crap for a top 20 video in enough 2-second clip. I think I have to do under 3-second clips for everything, and only do 5 of them. I don't know. Watch Mojo does the top 10 shit all the time, so there's got to be a way to do it right. But for now, I think I'm going to be ending this here now. Thank you for joining me. I will, just real quick, to get a little more information about the podcast as a whole. I might have other people join me. I know my lovely wife is really always into it. She loves watching Venture with me, so I was thinking maybe a couple episodes she's into really, she might pop in her voice. And then my dad's really into it, so I was going to see if he was interested. And then just in general, I'll see if I can find someone who has an episode they are really interested in and will talk me with. And as we progress, if you guys got questions on the episodes that are coming up or on the previous podcasts, just let me know. Do support the original releases, of course. Venture is a great show. It deserves all your love. I have the DVDs, and I have also, as I said, watched that marathon all the fucking time, and it's great. It did get recently approved for its movie, for a final movie. I thought it was going to be canceled without a finish, and I was going to be so upset, but it didn't. Metalocalypse and Aqua Teen are all getting a final. Aqua Teen, I don't know if it needed it, but I haven't watched Aqua Teen in 5 years. Venture is amazing. Do keep up with this. I'm thinking, I don't want to set a time frame just yet. I'm thinking once a week, maybe. After I get it first, unless I get once a week at least for these podcasts is what I'm going for. So keep following me, and if you're interested in hearing my opinion about these episodes. This one was a different one because I haven't overly watched this episode as much as all the other Venture episodes out there. Because it's the pilot episode, I just don't watch it as much. So this was really me more recapping it, because I was like, whoa, this is what happens in this episode, and kind of trying to understand how it fits in the greater lore of Venture Brothers, because there's so much information in Venture Brothers. Thank you again for joining me. I'm going to be heading out, doing my thing. This is Supreme Fuzzler. Please like, comment, and subscribe for the YouTubes. And if you're not on the YouTubes, come check me out on the next podcast. I will be doing more Venture anytime soon. This was Fuzzlercast, or Supreme Fuzzler. Have a good day, and goodbye.